There was a moment in my life when I realized not every movement takes me upward. There were years when I could barely breathe. From morning till night, my schedule was packed. Meetings, errands, commuting, responding to one person after another. Anyone looking from the outside would think I was making huge progress. But only I, at the end of each year, knew a very different truth. My life was standing still. Strange, isn't it? You do more than ever, but life doesn't change much. You're more tired, but not richer. You're busier, but no closer to your dream. And then one night, when I looked back at the months that had passed, a question hit me like a soft but deep blow. Am I moving forward or just moving? That question didn't come from laziness. It came from honesty, from daring to look at what I had been avoiding for so long. I wasn't lacking effort. I was lacking direction. You know, being busy gives us the feeling of living fully. It makes us believe at least I'm doing something. But there are ladders. The faster you climb, the farther you get from the right wall. Life doesn't reward the one who does the most. Life rewards the one who does what's right. And if you let me walk with you for the next few minutes, we'll talk about a very dangerous illusion, one that millions trade their lives for. The illusion of busyness. But don't leave yet, because at the end of this video, there's one small principle, very small, but if you grasp it, your entire next year will be completely different. There's a cruel irony in life that most of us take years to understand. You can be busy to the point of exhaustion and still not move forward a single step. When I was younger, I believed the person who worked the most would be the most successful. I threw myself into work like a machine. Each day started with urgency and ended with exhaustion. I comforted myself with thoughts like, at least I didn't stand still today. But you know what happened? A year passed, then 2, then 3, and I was still almost exactly where I had been, just more tired, more anxious, and more doubtful of myself. Back then I didn't understand. All I knew was that it felt like rowing in the middle of the ocean, my arms paddling non-stop, but when I looked back, I was still near where I started. Waves crashing, wind thrashing, white foam swirling, everything made me think I was moving fast. But in reality, I was only fighting, not progressing. Sometimes, what exhausts us isn't the work itself. It's the illusion that we are improving. See, life has a clever way of tricking us. It gives us rings, notifications, emails, small tasks, requests, things that demand immediate response. And then we confuse constant reaction with being effective. We mistake the feeling of always doing something for becoming more successful. Human psychology is odd. Being busy makes us feel safe. It creates the illusion that we're still in control. We tell ourselves, if I stay busy a little longer, things will get better. But deep down, we know we're avoiding something, avoiding important decisions, avoiding real numbers, avoiding fixing a relationship, avoiding the truth that we're heading the wrong way. So we choose busy. Busy is the easiest. Busy requires no thinking. Busy makes us feel important. Busy helps us forget the big questions. What do I actually want? Am I living aligned with what matters most? Am I moving forward or just repeating? And you know, humans tend to run to small tasks whenever faced with a big decision. We open unimportant emails to avoid writing an important plan. We tidy our desks to avoid a hard conversation. We take on extra small tasks to avoid starting a project we fear failing at. Busyness is a temporary painkiller, but it's also addictive. It makes you feel alive, but in truth, you're stuck. I've met people who work 10, 12 hours a day, yet their income hasn't changed for 6 years. I've met people so busy they don't have 10 minutes for themselves, yet they claim they're moving fast. I've met people who stay busy just so they don't have to think, don't have to feel, don't have to face themselves. They run all day, but go nowhere. Like someone climbing a very tall ladder, climbing fast, climbing hard, hands bleeding. But when they look up, they realize the ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. Here's the truth. Life doesn't reward the fastest climber. It rewards the person who chooses the right wall. If you've ever felt tired, drained, breathless, but still not moving forward, know this, you're not alone. Many people are like you. Many are so busy they no longer have time to live, to love, to learn, to nurture their dreams. The root of the problem isn't energy. It isn't time. It isn't discipline. It's direction. And when the direction is wrong, no matter how long you run, you're just running in circles. For a long period of my life, I thought I was working harder than everyone around me. I woke up early, came home late, my schedule packed from Monday to Sunday. No days off, no pause. I assumed my life was changing, but nothing changed. And the moment I realized that didn't come from some big event, it came on an ordinary afternoon. That day, the sky was gray. I sat in a small coffee shop, the one I always visited when I needed quiet. On the table was a notebook filled with notes. I flipped through each page. Every page was full of bullet points, appointments, urgent tasks. But when I looked at the outcomes, I suddenly realized that all my sweat from the whole year had brought me only exhaustion, not a better life. I remember that moment as clearly as if it happened this morning. The wind lightly brushed the porch, the clink of someone's spoon tapped gently against a cup. I looked down at the plan I had written a year earlier. The goals that had once felt almost within reach were still there, untouched, not even halfway achieved. It felt like standing in a river with water rushing past your legs. You think you're swimming, but really you're just struggling against the current. During that time, I knew someone named Robert. He was one of the busiest people I had ever met. Always rushing, always running, always saying he didn't have enough time. But strangely, despite how busy he was, his life wasn't going anywhere. One day, I asked him directly, "Robert, what are you actually pursuing?" He gave a strained smile. "I'm not sure. I just keep doing, because if I stop, I don't know what to do next." His answer made me silent for a long moment, because it wasn't just Robert. Many people live the same way, busy so they won't have to think, busy to forget what matters, busy to avoid the emptiness inside. Once, Robert confessed, "I'm afraid of sitting still. Every time I have a little free time, I feel useless." And I realized an incredibly bitter truth. People aren't busy because they have too much to do. They're busy because they're afraid to face themselves. Being busy means you don't have to sit down and ask, "Am I living right? Are the things I do each day taking me where I want to go? Am I wasting my youth on meaningless cycles?" Busyness helps you temporarily forget those questions. Another time, I met a small shop owner. He worked from morning till night, hadn't taken a single day off in 8 years, but his income barely increased. His family drifted farther apart. His life was a repetitive loop. Open the shop, serve customers, close the shop, sleep, repeat, no change. When I asked why he didn't take some time to reevaluate his direction, he simply said, "If I stop, everything will collapse." But the truth is, everything had collapsed long ago. He just didn't dare look. Some people stay busy to avoid fixing their marriage. Some stay busy to avoid facing the years they've wasted. Some stay busy to avoid learning new skills, skills they know could change their lives but would force them to feel incompetent, unfamiliar, uncomfortable. Busyness becomes a thin blanket covering wounds that never heal. And when I looked at myself in that cafe that day, I realized the same thing. I wasn't moving forward because I didn't dare ask the most important question. Am I climbing the right wall? When I closed my eyes, I knew I had worked very hard, but the direction was wrong. And when the direction is wrong, every effort becomes depletion, not growth. That was when I understood, a lesson I would only later learn to name. The right path is never busy in a way that breaks you. It's busy in a way that grows you. There's something very few people are willing to face. Movement and progress are two completely different worlds. We confuse them because from the outside, they look the same. Someone runs fast, you think they're going far. Someone works more than everyone, you think they're gaining an edge. Someone is always busy, always rushing, always doing something, and you think they're ahead of you. But no, often what you're seeing is just movement. It has nothing to do with progress. Imagine you're rowing in a lake. If you row slightly off to the right, just a small angle, you'll still move. You'll still sweat, still feel like you're working hard, but after an hour, you'll find yourself hundreds of meters away from your destination. Meanwhile, someone rowing slower but in the right direction will reach the finish long before you. Life works the same way. The busiest people I've known are often the ones standing still the longest. Because they're addicted to the feeling of being activated. Rings, messages, urgent tasks, someone needing them, someone calling them, someone assigning something. They become a reactive bell to life. No choices, no intention, no ability to distinguish right from wrong, important from unimportant. They don't live proactively anymore. They just react. And reaction always creates movement, but rarely creates progress. I once met a man who told me he worked almost all day, yet he couldn't remember the last time he did something truly important for his future. He did many tasks, but none of them lifted his life upward. He was like a driver on a highway who didn't know which direction he was heading. Just lifting his foot off the gas for a second would force him to face the question he feared most. Where am I going? That's why I say busyness has never been a sign of progress. If busyness created value, the busiest people would be the most successful. But reality shows the opposite. What separates people who progress from those who just move lies in a small but profound difference. People who merely move do what appears in front of them. People who progress do what moves them toward the future. It's that simple. People who merely move work on what needs to be done now. People who progress work on what is necessary for their life. A busy person runs the moment someone calls. A progressing person pauses for a few seconds and asks, will this take me where I want to go? If not, they put it down. That is choice. And choice, not busyness, is what creates progress. If you look up at the night sky, you'll see the stars. They stay still. But it was that stillness that helped sailors navigate their direction. Meanwhile, someone rowing frantically in every direction is no different from living without purpose. They move constantly, but the more they move, the more lost they become. People often judge incorrectly. They praise the one who runs fast, but they never ask where that person is running. They praise the one who does a lot, but never ask whether those things bring them closer to their goal. They admire the busy, but don't know whether that person is busy because life pulled them or because they're truly striving. Those who truly progress sometimes look very calm. They are not loud. They don't boast about their schedule. They don't say they're busy. They are like bamboo, quietly growing roots in the dark for years before rising rapidly in just a few months. Meanwhile, those who merely move are like dry leaves in the wind. They flutter a lot. They swirl a lot. They travel far, but they mean nothing. They have no direction. Progress always has direction. Movement does not. When you understand this difference, you'll no longer see being busy as proof you're living correctly. You'll begin to ask the questions that truly matter. Is this the wall I want to lean my ladder on? Is this the path that leads me upward? Am I working hard for the right thing, or just working hard out of habit? You know, something interesting happens when we start to realize that busyness is just a reaction, while progress is a choice. In that very moment, we are forced to face a truth that is very uncomfortable. Your life today is the result of the choices you've made, not the things you've been busy with. And this is when change begins, not through big dramatic flips, not through fierce vows, but through small actions, very small yet in the right direction. I've seen many people change their lives just by applying 3 simple things. No lofty philosophy, no need to read dozens of books, no need to make a list of 100 goals, just 3 very down-to-earth, practical, very Jim Rohn style applications that most people overlook. Let me share them one by one, slowly. Because sometimes the biggest changes are hidden inside the smallest things. The first application, a small pause, but enough to change direction. If there is anything that separates people who merely move from those who progress, it is the moment they stop. I'm not talking about rest. I'm talking about stopping a deliberate stillness. Many years ago, I started a strange habit. Whenever someone gave me something to do, I wouldn't do it immediately. I would pause for 10 seconds, just 10 seconds. Long enough to ask myself one very simple question. Will this take me to where I want to go? If the answer was no, I didn't do it. If the answer was not sure yet, I delayed it. Just this alone helped me reclaim at least 40% of my daily energy. You don't need to do more. You just need to stop and choose. And choice is the very essence of progress. The second application, one most important task each day. Humans make a big mistake, thinking they must do as much as possible each day. But the people who go the farthest all share one thing in common. Each day they focus on one truly important task. They call it a one daily win. Not the easiest task, not the task that shows up first, not the task others want you to do, but the task that moves you forward. An old teacher once told me, Jim, if in a day you do just one thing of real value, that day was not wasted. For example, if you're building a career, the most important task might be one phone call. If you're learning a skill, it might be 45 minutes of focused practice. If you're improving your health, it might be a 30-minute walk. Just one thing. But done for 365 days, it changes your entire life. Because progress doesn't come from the volume of tasks, but from the volume of value. The third application, re-evaluating the wall your ladder is leaning on. One of the hardest things in life is daring to reassess your direction. People hate starting over. We would rather keep climbing the wrong ladder than put it down and find a new wall. But you know, nothing wastes more time than climbing a ladder that leads nowhere. A friend of mine, his name is Michael, worked 15 years in a job he didn't love. One day when he looked back, he realized he had ignored his real ladder for a decade and a half. He was almost burned out, but when I asked why he didn't change direction, he answered, because I've already climbed too high. I looked at him and said, climbing high doesn't mean you're climbing right. You may have poured many years into a certain direction. You may have invested a lot of effort into it. But if the direction is wrong, the harder you try, the more lost you become. What you need is not to try harder, but to reevaluate the wall, pause and ask, am I living in a way that makes me proud? Is this path still right for me? If today were day one, would I choose this? If the answer is no, adjust. You don't need to turn your whole life upside down. Just adjust your direction a little. Like steering a boat at sea, just a few degrees of adjustment, and after a few hours, you'll end up in a completely different place. The final application, rebuilding an intentional rhythm of life. Busy people live by notifications. Progressive people live by principles. They don't let life drag them around. They don't let notifications decide their day. They don't let other people choose their direction for them. They start their day with the question, how far do I want my life to move forward today? One small question. But repeated long enough, it becomes a new rhythm of life where you no longer chase after life, but begin to lead it. There's something I learned very late in life, and I wish I'd understood it sooner. Life doesn't change when you do more. It changes when you become someone who can choose better. Most of us grow up believing that the more you do, the more you get. Parents, schools, society, everyone teaches that hard work is the key, and hard work is necessary. But if all you have is hard work, you'll become the greatest worker on a path you were never meant to take. I once met a master carpenter. His hands were rough and calloused after many years of work. One day, when I asked him his secret to making a beautiful table, he smiled gently and said, it's not about sawing faster, it's about sawing on the right line. A small sentence, but it holds a big truth. In life, many people work extremely fast, extremely hard, extremely diligently, but they are cutting off line. They are pushing their life in a direction they do not truly want. They put in a lot of effort, but it's effort that doesn't create a future. And you know, all of us have two lives. The first life begins the moment we are born. The second life begins the moment we realize we don't have that much time left to live wrong. It's in that moment that we truly begin to live. First philosophy. The wind doesn't decide the direction the sail does. There are days when the wind blows against you. There are times when circumstances are not on your side. There is resistance. There is failure. There are things you cannot choose. But you can always choose how to set your sail. Busy people complain about the wind. Progressive people adjust their sail. The wind is life. The sail is you. And your life turns according to what you set inside yourself, not what happens outside. Second philosophy, the most important things are never loud. The things that keep us busy are always noisy, like traffic, calls, demands, urgent requests. But the things that take us far are usually quiet. An evening spent reflecting on a new direction. An hour reading a deep, meaningful book. 15 minutes writing down your goals for the year. A moment when you dare to say no. The moments that change your life are never flashy. They are quiet, but powerful. They don't shout, but they redirect an entire journey. If you're not comfortable with silence, you will always choose busyness because silence forces you to face yourself. Third philosophy, roots must grow deep before a tree can grow tall. Bamboo doesn't shoot up in its first year. It doesn't in the second year, not even in the third. It spends its time growing roots, quietly, slowly, unseen. But then in the following years, it can grow taller than trees that take many years to mature. Progressive people are the same. They spend time building roots. They learn, they reflect, they adjust. They choose the right direction, even if that makes them appear to slow down in the eyes of others. But when they rise high and strong. Busy people, on the other hand, are like weeds that sprout quickly after a rain. They grow tall very fast. They turn green very fast, but they wither just as fast because their roots are shallow. Real progress is the willingness to grow roots before growing tall. Fourth philosophy, the gap between the successful and the unsuccessful isn't effort, it's choice. In all my years of speaking, I've never met someone who failed because they did too little. But I've met hundreds who failed because they did too many wrong things. The wrong people, the wrong direction, the wrong environment, the wrong priorities, the wrong beliefs. When you change your choices, you change your direction. When you change your direction, you change your future. And when you change your future, you change your life. Final philosophy. Life doesn't ask you to do everything. It only asks you to do what truly needs to be done. We cannot do everything. We cannot run forever without resting. We cannot live our whole life just reacting to whatever happens. But we can choose. Choose a direction. Choose a value. Choose one task each day. Choose a path that turns you into the right kind of person. Because in the end, success is not the result of busyness. Success is the result of the right choices repeated long enough. And now, if you've stayed with me until this point, there's probably a very familiar feeling somewhere inside you. A feeling you may have vaguely sensed for a long time but never really named. You've been busy for too long, without getting very far. Don't be quick to blame yourself. Everyone has such a phase in life. A phase where we think we're running very fast, but we're really just spinning in circles. A phase where we believe effort will save everything, only to realize effort in the wrong direction only wears us out faster. I don't know where you are on your journey. Maybe you're stuck in a mess of countless little tasks. Maybe you're at a point where every morning feels like a repeat of yesterday. Maybe you've been running for a long, long time, and you're very tired, but when you look back, you haven't gone much farther. But there's one thing I know for sure. It's never too late to adjust your sail. You don't have to change your whole life overnight. You just need to change your direction just a little, and the entire journey will be different. Life is like a boat sailing across a vast ocean. If you adjust the wheel by just a few degrees, in a few minutes you might not see any difference. In a few hours, you might think you're still on the right path. But by day's end, you'll find you've gone in a completely different direction. Life works in exactly the same way. Small things, done right, change everything. Maybe you've had nights lying in bed asking yourself, why am I putting in so much effort and still not improving? Why am I always busy yet always feel lacking? Why do I keep running and still not get where I want to be? The answer isn't that you're not good enough, or not smart enough, or not disciplined enough. It's that you've been living to the rhythm of busyness instead of the rhythm of progress. Busyness pulls you along. Progress pulls you up. Busyness makes you tired. Progress makes you grow. Busyness makes you reactive. Progress makes you intentional. And once you start living with intention just a little, you'll notice something strange. Life becomes lighter even though you're doing less. Because when you choose correctly, you no longer have to overexert yourself. When you choose correctly, you no longer have to run in confusion. When you choose correctly, every step takes you closer to the future you want. I don't know if you believe this or not, but you deserve a life where every morning you wake up feeling clear, bright, and guided. A life where you're not running to escape something, but running toward what you've chosen. A life where you can pause for a moment, breathe deeply, and say, today I live true to what matters most. If any part of this video resonates with you, if there's a sentence, an image, a moment that made you pause for a few seconds, I want you to leave it right below in the comments. No need to write anything long. Just a single dot so I know you're still here with me all the way to this very minute. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to move forward a little every day, if you no longer want to live in a state of busy but not changing your life, you can absolutely start tonight. Just one thing, one choice, one question. Does what I'm doing take me to where I want to go? If it does, go deeper. If it doesn't, let it go. It's that simple. And if you feel this video has value, if it helped you see life from a different angle, I truly hope you'll take 1 second to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Not for me, but because every week I want to send you lessons that help you adjust your sail, deepen your roots, and become a stronger version of yourself. Because success is not something you pursue, but something you attract by the person you become. Become the person you are truly proud of. The rest life will rearrange itself around you.